Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jason O'Brien, and tonight we have two special guests with us. We have the Earl of Fortcaster, James Kerr, and the cute business tycoon, Chad Henton. Okay, tonight we are going to be discussing about the piece, Social and Cultural Forms of Modernity. We have been arguing that in Western society, consumer items of clothing, food and luxuries can be used to demonstrate a lifestyle. These are the words of boycott, but is that really so? Today we have with us a guest to find out if there is any truth behind boycott's word. My lord, tell me about yourself.
Well, I grew up in Kent the first 12 years of my life. And I went to Harrow, so I'm an old Harrovian, after which I went and studied history at Cambridge University. For about 3 to 5 years, I served in the Coldstream Guards, and then I had a stint in politics as a Member of Parliament for Walton-on-the-Naze. But when my father died, I naturally lost my place in the House of Commons.
It's very interesting. According to boycott, you would be considered old money, and the theory is you will tend to have a more refined consumption habit. Would you care to comment on that?
Well, you said more refined. It's relative, isn't it? I myself don't have any way of comparing my spending habits with that of someone who's, lack of a better word, less refined. But obviously, because my socialisation is with people who are very much from the same sort of background, so they have similar spending habits. But obviously, there is one or two that tends to gamble a bit more than the rest of us. So, like that. But no, I wouldn't be able to talk about that.
Okay, Mr. Chad Henton, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, for myself, well, I was growing up in the York regions. I went to a public school there, went to the Business College of York, so a lot of business skills in that industry. And a few going through some phone calling industries in the business, decided to land the commercial industry. Decided to present some cars and made a good fortune out of that for the last 5 years. And within that, I've decided to go up into all the white collar regions, start getting to some business, high business regions, to earn a lot more money, and I want to show it.
Well, in boycott's definition, you would be called what he says is new money, with more impulsive consumption habits. Would you care to comment on that?
I absolutely agree with that. I mean, I want to show exactly how much I've earned, and I don't want to share it with anyone because I'm the one who's earned it. I'm the one who's put in all the blue collar hard times to make up for all those hard times in the past, and to make all the money that I've earned from all the hard efforts, to buy all the flashy cars and the big houses and all the lovely furniture that I've owned. So I completely agree with that.
My lord, how do you spend your wealth?
Well, it's nothing particularly excessive. Personally, obviously, a lot of it goes on in the upkeep of my lands that I have in Kent and North Suffolk. But so staffing, which is not as well staffed as it used to be in 30 years ago, which is thanks to David Lloyd George's wonderful inheritance tax. But I myself, personal spending, I do tend to spend rather, apart from meals of course, I'm rather fond of single malt whiskey and cigars like Hanover, maybe Cuban. But when it comes to I know that my father, when he was alive, the late Lord Fortcaster, he was very fond of grouse shooting. He used to have a friend, Lord Lothian, who used to go up to the Highlands and do some grouse shooting up there with him, because he owned land up there. My father didn't, but his friend Lord Lothian did, the Marquess of Lothian. But I myself don't do a lot of grouse shooting. I do a bit of hunting, pigeon shooting and whatnot. But I don't know, because in terms of in spending, I probably end up doing that a bit more. But obviously, I spent the first couple of years in Parliament and in Coldstream, and I've been spending most of my time in the city. So I don't. And when it comes to country pursuits, as it were, I haven't really started having a go at them yet. So that might factor in later on in my life if I start. Obviously, I can't serve in the Commons anymore.
Yeah.
So I'll end up spending more time in the country. So that might end up taking a bigger part of my spending later on. Depends if I'm fond of it or not.
Okay, Mr. Henton, how do you go about spending your wealth?
My wealth? Well, I like to show it. I like to show my wealth very much. I like to buy big, fast cars. Some of the cars I presented myself. Big cars costing over £50,000 and above.
I understand you recently bought an Aston Martin after the hit film that just got released, Goldfinger.
Indeed I did. I loved that film so much. Decided to call the producer to see exactly which car he did, and I bought it. That exact same one.
It's lovely. The exact same model.
Exact same model.
Wow, that's just amazing. I wish I had that much money to splash out on cars. My lord, what are your current investments?
Well, I don't actually have any investments apart from the land that I own, my estate. Obviously, a large part of my money is tied up in the land and my estate. Obviously, the upkeep as well, and interest and all that sort of stuff. I know my great grandfather had held stock in stocks in the railway when it first came in the 1860s, 50s, and all that. Which was Charles Darwin did as well. That's why Charles Darwin could sit back and do nothing and write The Origin of the Species. But no, I don't know. Apart from that, my family has somewhat distanced itself from commerce and trade. It's sort of, I don't know, lack of a better word, it's sort of uncouth of a gentleman to get involved with such mucky things. But, so most of my investment is just in the land that I own in Kent and South Suffolk. But yeah, well, apart from that, that's speaking.
And for you, Mr. Henton, you're invested in a lot of properties. Would you care to expand on that?
Well, I've seen boost up me with my big cars. I can travel all around the country. I can explore different regions like the Blackpool area and the London areas, Kent and Dover. And also I love the northern France as well. Big properties around those areas.
And I understand you have a lot of factories around sort of the docks of Northfleet and in some cases in London itself as well.
Indeed I do. I've always had a big loving for cars, as well as those little tracker bars I decided to invest into as well.
My lord, in today's society, Herbert Marcase, nearly lost my words there, folks. In One Dimensional Man, he comments on human biology in his critical theoretical analysis of modern capitalism. But many do not agree with this theory. What are your views exactly?
Well, I'm not personally aware or familiar with the study. Could you summarise it for me so I could... Well, I haven't got any views yet, but if you summarise, I might actually come up.
We have here a copy of the works, and he basically goes on to explain about how humans have true and false needs, and that how false needs such as home entertainment systems, radios, the new television sets are considered more biologically needed by modern society. People have a need for these trendy new things. Would you agree with this? Like, people have a necessity, have a biological need for instance, a car.
There's Well, I suppose it's not a biological, it's a social needs, isn't it? It's economic factors. False needs, what it sounds like, is another way of saying want. You want a car because you know it will make your life a little bit easier. You say need, you know, you could just get up a bit early and walk to wherever you need, but need to go. But yes, well, of course, if you needed naturally these contraptions and products, they wouldn't bother advertising it in the first place, would they? Oh, you don't see advertisements for food generally. You go to buy food because you need to live. You don't. It tends to be the whole idea of advertisements is to bring you around to a certain way of thinking. But I don't think there's any biological need. I mean, that's a complete. It's a misunderstanding of how biology works. It might be a social or economic reason, or a need in that sense, or want. But no, I see what he's driving at, but I think his terminology is a bit off, to say the least.
Hey, Mr. Henton, a different book, the book Distinction by Miller, goes on about capital, habitus and social reproduction parties. What do you feel is your party?
Well, no doubt. I've always been a big fan of the capitalism era. The fact that you don't need to share your wealth. You keep what you earn. The universal competition, as I say, the profit motive. You're out there to make money more than anyone else in the world, and you're there to win. And you want to show it to all the people who you've just beaten, driven them to the turf.
That's very interesting. We move on to our next set of questions, and in this one we'd like for both of you to participate, and we'll have a debate about each other's views upon this. And my first question is, do you believe in Britain's class system?
Would you want us to take turns?
It's completely open to discussion.
There's I think the class system is lots of people don't like it, but especially with inverse snobs on the low orders. But it's a very natural thing to occur. Like you look in other societies not touched by Western civilization, there is a stratification of society according to money, wealth, or qualities. Like look at in Athens, for example, there was an oligarchy and ruled by the few. And no, I think it's not a negative thing, but it's just a factor in our society. It's not, you shouldn't begrudge anyone for their place. But at the same time, it's there. There's nothing we can particularly do about it. No, it's not. No, that's my view on it anyhow. Mr. Hinton might think something different.
How do you feel?
Well, I feel like I'm absolutely fine with the position that I'm in and how I got to there, so I have no problems with the society of where Britain's at the moment.
Okay, we're just about to wrap things up there. Would any of you like to have any comments towards our viewing audience at home?
Work, work, work. You put the effort in, and you get the money you deserve, and then you can show it because you deserve it.
Sounds a bit like L'Oreal. No, I haven't got anything particular to say. No, I'm just who I am, and I don't think I should feel ashamed because Nouveau Rich says so, and I inherit money. Also, if you could stop taxing me, the inheritance tax is somewhat shrinking my estate, but you know, apart from that, no, nothing.
Okay, and just before we finish up there, folks, a few comments from either of you. Would you agree on Bocock's theory that you would be old money, my lord, and that you tend to refine your consumption? And would you agree that Mr. Henton here is new money and tends to be more erratic in his spending?
Well, I certainly agree with the postulation. As I'm probably am old money. I know that I inherited it, and he's a member of the Nouveau Riche. But I wouldn't want to comment on if my spending was more refined than him. It would be hardly gentlemanly.
And your comment, Mr. Henton?
My comments? Well, I completely agree as well. I mean, I'm not ashamed of saying that I love to spend my money and I love to flash it out. I love to spend it on the big cars, the big furnitures and the big houses. And my investments as well. I don't take light investments. I like to spend heavy, heavy, heavy because I feel like I can, because I deserve it.
Okay, that's all the time we have for today, folks. I'm Jason O'Brien, and you have a good night.